Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause. We're going to pause. Security. Security, please.
What you've just watched was a video recorded by Jack Posobiec on Friday, June 16th, sometime after 8:30 or 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm basing that on the sunlight, or the lack thereof, in the video footage. The play is a modern remake of Shakespeare's Caesar, but the characters have been tweaked to portray President Donald Trump as Caesar, including his assassination scene halfway through the story. A woman in the audience named Laura Loomer walks onto the stage and starts yelling at the actors, claiming to be protesting their portrayal of Trump and conservatives.
You are all Goebbels! You are all Nazis like Joseph Goebbels! This is Goebbels! You are all Goebbels! You are inciting terrorists! The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands! The blood of Steve Scalise is on your hands! Goebbels would be proud! Goebbels would be proud! Goebbels would be proud!
Come this way! Sir,
Goebbels would be proud! Sir,
What you're witnessing is a huge double standard being exercised, and basic human rights being violated, namely, the right to freedom of speech. There are people that were trying to convince us that it was Laura's free speech rights that were being violated, and that the double standard was that liberal protesters don't get arrested or escorted off of stage. Though that second thing is somewhat true, no, it was the other way around, actually. Laura was the one who was willfully and knowingly interrupting a play, hijacking their stage, and violating their right to free speech. All of this happened nearly 24 hours after I uploaded a video about free speech where I lay this out clearly. Free speech is a two-way road. It's not just about getting to speak, it's also about not hindering other people's freedom of expression when they speak. Some of the same people who complain that the left is trying to censor them are justifying this event as necessary. That's the double standard. You might not agree with what an opponent has to say, but you cannot participate in censorship if you're pro-free speech. That's just pure hypocrisy. Plain and simple. Look at this shit. Pick a side. It's this pick a side shit again. And I'm fucking sick of it. This isn't a left versus right thing. This is not a sides thing. This isn't me pushing alt-centrism. This is simply a pro-free speech versus anti-free speech discussion. This is about being consistent with your beliefs. This play was not anti-conservative or anti-Trump. I read Caesar in grade 10, and the moral of the story is that murdering the leader is a bad thing. Et tu, Brute? That's some intense shit. Julius is looking right into Brutus's soul, exposing his betrayal, and Brutus feels deep and instant regret because he gave up on his morals, he gave up on his principles, then turned on his best friend. Then Rome goes to shit. The story is about sticking to your principles. So if you were somebody that was trying to justify this, what are your principles? Are you for free speech? Do you want to stick to those principles? Then stop justifying this. Laura broke the law. She knew she broke the law. I can prove that she knew. This isn't me trying to show how centrism is superior. This is basic pro-freedom of speech versus people are only allowed to say things I agree with. This controversy all started on June 12th when news broke that Delta Airlines and Bank of America dropped their sponsorship of the play when people complained that they didn't like the way it depicted Trump's assassination. This got lots of conservative sites pumping out articles panning the Playhouse for being anti-conservative and crossing the line. Even Philly the Franklin talked about it.
What's up, you beautiful bastards?
One day before the incident, on June 15th, using Periscope, Mike Cernovich announced a $1,000 contest for 10 people to buy tickets to the play and intentionally interrupt and disrupt the play. Why someone would pay $10,000 to shut down a play? I have no fucking idea. Laura Loomer works for Rebel Media, which is owned by Ezra Levant. Rebel's been nicknamed nicknamed the Breitbart of the North because they're infamous for stirring up controversy and inserting themselves right in the middle of the action, even sometimes going as far as participating in protest against whatever event they're covering. Maclean's magazine, a prestigious magazine in Canada, describes Rebel as being paranoid. They're also unapologetically pro-conservative and anti-liberal, posturing themselves against liberals all the time. Laura, I'm guessing, was acting within her capacity as a representative of Rebel Media. She seems to indicate as much in her video.
Like I said, I work for Rebel Media. I just started.
Ezra was quick to throw up an article on Rebel's website, complete with YouTube video and a form to fill out your credit card information for her legal defense. Of course. Oh, also, Ezra even purchased the domain freelaura.com. Free Laura from her legalresponsibilities.com. The biggest red flag was brought to my attention by this tweet about the website. Sure, it's not super suspicious that Laura's boss would set up a legal fund for her right after getting arrested, but according to GoDaddy, her awareness website was created 4 hours before the play even started. Several hours before her arrest. This can only really mean one thing. Ezra and Laura knew what they were doing, they knew she was breaking the law, and they knew she would get arrested. I mean, Ezra's a fucking lawyer, for Christ's sake. He knows law very well. And more importantly, they knew that they could convince you to cover the bill for their stunt by paying for Laura's legal fund. Maybe you'd want to help because someone convinced you that this was somehow an act of war by the left against the right. But it wasn't. This was just a woman disturbing the peace and getting escorted off of stage by security. Security that was just doing their job, by the way. Why the fuck would they do this? Why are they trying to cause shit?
By interacting and engaging with this play that is happening in New York, you are now engaging in art. You are performing. All of life is a stage, and we are all but actors. Who said that? What a coincidence. I believe that it was Shakespeare himself who said that, and how fateful that this is Shakespeare in the Park.
Stop the normalization of political violence against the right. This is unacceptable. You cannot get off the stage.
All right.
God, I know theater when I see it, and goddamn, that's theater. The protest is more theater than the actual theater the audience paid to see. This is meta theater. Now, before you try to defend this by saying, if this was a play about Obama being assassinated, people would freak out. Well, somebody did do a play about Obama being assassinated. A New York playhouse put on a production of Caesar in 2012, but Obama was portrayed as Caesar. This actually happened and nobody cared because people understand that theater is theater. A conservative site even reviewed it and praised the play. Think about this. Conservatives literally stopped a play to cry about how they were offended by it. That is exactly what a social justice warrior does. Does anybody remember when Rebel used to complain that people did this to Milo? I usually get lumped in with conservatives when people try to look at me as an anti-SJW, and shit like this makes it really easy for social justice warriors to call critics of social justice hypocrites, and then just do this shit back to us because they feel that we did it first, which is the same excuse some people are making for Laura's actions. They do it to us so we can do it to them. Jesus fucking Christ, people, develop some fucking principles for fuck's sake. This attitude, they did it first, has only one natural outcome. A real, actual, literal culture war, born of the manufactured one that everybody is peddling. And when we're all stuck here arguing about retarded, trivial shit, the people like Jack and Ezra will just sit back and laugh at all the chaos that they helped create. Now, Jack's video is fucking hilarious.
You are all Goebbels! You are all Nazis like Joseph Goebbels!
What the? You can even hear it on the Rebel footage. Oh my god, everything about this is a fucking train wreck. People were absolutely demolishing Jack on Twitter. Even Richard Spencer dug at him. I don't know how Jack wouldn't see his participation in this as being anything other than universally condemned. You know what? I love pointing out when there's an apparent double standard as much as the next guy. But you can't know the security wouldn't have done the same to a social justice warrior. You're just imagining that they wouldn't because we've witnessed the exact same thing happen in the past with other unrelated events. Sure, you could take this as an opportunity to point out that there is a general double standard, but I don't really want to make a habit of punishing police or security for doing their jobs properly for once. This is what they're supposed to do. When somebody disturbs the peace, when somebody disrupts a play that dozens of people paid good money to see, a play put on by an acting troupe that paid money to use the platform and is using said platform to express themselves, when their freedom of speech is interrupted, security and police are supposed to intervene. After she was escorted off of the stage, Laura spoke to her camera while she was waiting for the police.
I really think that the left wants there to be another civil war in this country because they're so polarizing and they're so violent. They're so disgusting. They lack morals.
You do not get to illegally hijack a play, disrupt hundreds of paying customers, hinder people's freedom of speech, and then claim that they are the ones that are trying to start a war. Stop being a hypocrite. Stop trying to stir the pot. Stop manufacturing controversy to push a fucking narrative. For fuck's sakes, report the news. There are more important things to argue about, things that affect all of us. If we get caught up on fighting over this trivial shit, we'll never be able to address our shared enemies, our shared problems. Don't buy into Mike's shit. Don't buy into Jack's shit. Don't buy into Ezra's shit. They don't care about freedom of speech or anything of that. If they did, they would have demonstrated that. They only want controversy. They live off of controversy. This is how reactionary right-wing media works. They want you to be angry. They want you to be pissed. They want you to get all worked up because it feeds their lifeblood. People are also justifying this by saying things like, this had to be done to beat the left. We have to adopt their tactics to beat them. But you already did beat the left. Trump is president. You fucking won. Trump won because everybody was sick of the way that the left was acting. And now your goal is to act exactly like them. Do you really lack any self-awareness? They did it, so we can do it. That's a mentality you're supposed to grow out of before you're fucking 6. Do you want people to join your side? Then actually live up to the standards you expect others to live up to. Why would I want to be on your side if I know that you'll ignore my rights and even trample on my rights to favor your opinions over my opinions? This isn't just a battle for opinions. This is about demonstrating principles. Does anybody remember what Friedrich Nietzsche said? Beware that when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw and you'd like to see more Armored Skeptic, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you absolutely love me, you can support me on Patreon, or if you have a passing affection for me, you can buy my merch. Links are in the description.